All right, welcome back to the channel. So Gervonta Davis seemingly defends the likelihood that he may fight guys up at 140 pounds. Specifically, he says that his defense will beat guys like Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, and these other big guys because when he doesn't want to, they won't be able to lay a glove on him. Let's talk about what he has to say in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So one of my favorite subjects is Gervonta Davis, one of the best fighters, I believe, in the world. I have him in my top 10 pound for pound, unlike a lot of other people of mainstream media. I think this guy is an absolutely terrific fighter. He is the WBA 135 pound regular champion, which is not really a belt. And I don't think that makes him a champion at lightweight, but he is the WBA 130 pound champion. And in that capacity is definitely, I believe, the top guy at 130 pounds. There were a lot of conversations that went on this week. Specifically, I heard Teofimo Lopez talk about it. I've heard other channels or articles written about the likelihood that Gervonta Davis would be moving up from his last fight being at 130, skipping over 130. Actually, I think he fought at both 135 and 130, defended both of those belts, but had to weigh in at 130. But would be moving up to fight Mario Barrios at 140. Now, Mario Barrios was fighting on the undercard. I think his last fight was on the undercard of the Floyd Mayweather Jr. Danny Garcia fight. I was there in person, and I think that his trainer is the former trainer of Andre Ward, Virgil Hunter, but a solid fighter. I thought the performance he had last was a good performance from what I can recall. Don't really recall the details of it. However, the idea of Gervonta Davis having his next fight at 140 is kind of out of nowhere for me. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But Ellie setback, but the problem, let me put it this way, the problem with that a lot of people raised was that, Gervonta Davis isn't at 140 pounds, right? Like, he's not really a 140 pounder. I do believe that, that the line that I think it was Teofimo Lopez was also somebody out of the Garcia gym that was like, look, this dude, was blowing all the way up to 190 pounds. He doesn't have the discipline in between fights. And, over time that this is really going to really mess with his career. So, obviously a lot of people agree with that. But the idea that, he could not fight somebody at 140 pounds, that to me was the intriguing thing because, it's clear Gervonta, like, I don't know exactly how big Gervonta Davis is naturally. I mean, clearly he's like is a mesomorphic type of build, and he's very stout. But I'm just not sure, like, if he's really dehydrating himself down to 130, or is it that he really is like can weigh in the 135s comfortably. But if he can, this is what a comment that he made to Ellie Sethback that was posted yesterday. It might have been an older conversation, but in pretty much in detail, he explains, what he would do and the difference that he with him fighting guys that are smaller and guys that are bigger. And what he said was that when he fights somebody that is like, that he doesn't really feel has the power to hurt him, that he doesn't mind taking a punch or two from them, right? Because he knows that when he connects, that guy is going to go out, that he's going to be gone. And you can see that as, pretty much in how he fought Leo Santa Cruz in his last fight, where he just pretty much just tried to walk down Leo Santa Cruz the whole time. Felt like, especially in the knockout sequence, you could see him. He just parried a couple shots, set himself up for an uppercut, and Leo Santa Cruz was knocked out before he hit the floor. So the logic, I would assume, for the boxing logic for it is that better to take a couple, 3, 4 smaller punches to get in there and get the fight over with than to kind of stay out of the, play purely defense, let the rounds go by, where they may trick the judges because they may do certain type of annex or whatever, and over time you just may get caught with 1, 2, 3 punches. Say you get hit 2, 3 times around over a series of rounds, that's more punishment, that's more wear and tear on your body, and as they say, they don't get paid for overtime. So Gervonta Davis in those circumstances will just walk through a guy, right? If he feels like he can't hurt him. But he specifically said, but that's not going to be the case when he fights bigger guys. When he said when he fights bigger guys, his defense and foot speed and footwork is good enough to where they won't be able to touch him at all if he decides not to be touched at all. And that's something we've not seen from Gervonta Davis, right? Because if you look, Gervonta Davis I think he's on a 10-12 knockout streak, 10-12 fight knockout streak. I think maybe one person has gone the distance with him in his career. So, clearly he's getting guys out of there, and you've not had to see him be in a situation where he would have to fight somebody and be shifty on the inside, fight from the outside, stay out of range, right? Do things like that, try to maybe slip on the inside, work the body, wear the guy down, and then eventually take him out over the length, or have to just go and outbox him for 12 rounds because he doesn't want to put himself at risk for the big shot. Specifically, what he said was that with big guys, that he's not about to stand there with those guys and let them hit him on the arms and the elbows and all of that stuff. He's going to be out of the way of that, because he's like, yeah, man, when a big guy is really laying on your body and hitting your arms and your elbows, he was like, shoot, that stuff hurts. So no, he said I would do that against a smaller guy where the damage isn't as much. But when I fight bigger guys, no, I'm up out of there. And that's one of the things that I would say about Gervonta Davis that I think is very, very underrated, is his overall athleticism. His foot speed in and out of the ring is very, very, very fast. And his transitions from defense to offense, in my opinion, is as good as I can recall in boxing right now. If you remember the fight that he had with Francisco Fonseca, when there was a lot of feeling out in the first couple rounds, you could see that Gervonta Davis knew that Francisco Fonseca was trying to set him up and catch him on the way in, and maybe the circumstance was that he respected his power. I'm not sure, but you could see how he took a longer amount of time staying on the outside, bouncing in and out, right, trying to set up, trying to feint, and do those type of things. He spent a considerable amount of that time fighting on the outside. Now, some people were saying that I don't think anybody said he lost those rounds, but they were trying to use that as a way to discredit him. But that, for me, was an example of him showing that he does have the ability to stay out and then eventually come in and pot shot you. So that plays would give us some clarity on how he would fight a guy like Teofimo Lopez, or how he would fight a guy like Devin Haney, who are both significantly bigger than him. In the scenario with Teofimo Lopez, more than likely that fight is going to be much more of a chess match. And honestly, he might, especially since Gervonta Davis used fights from the southpaw stance, he might use the fight with Vasily Lomachenko as the blueprint to fight Teofimo Lopez. All he would have to do is start a little bit earlier, right? And Vasily Lomachenko was very good at making Teofimo Lopez miss on the inside. When he wanted to get out and move, he was able to stay on the outside. He was able to initiate it with pretty much straight left hands right up the middle, right? Those type of things can come into play in those fights and can come into play in the Devin Haney fight. So anyway, that's my take on the mission on the issue. I thought that was an interesting subject. I can't wait to see what Gervonta Davis does. Hopefully he'll be able to get the fights with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez. But we'll see. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.